Welcome into the C3 pod. It is a absolutely gorgeous day in the city of Las Vegas. I just want to share that for all of you who have really bad weather. Welcome on in. We appreciate you guys joining us. It's just a group of, honestly, I don't know how else to say it except a bunch of idiots that just like to talk about nerdy stuff. Like to welcome you guys in.
I thought he was going to go positive with that and be like, you know what? I don't know how else to say it, but titans of their individual like niche, right? But no, he's got to go low.
No, well, speaking of idiots, the guy on the microphone there, Mr. Brendan Allen from comiccon.com, out there in Bakersfield, California. Although he spent like, I don't know, a month in Arizona. I don't really know. He just said, I'm going. And then every day it was like, hey, I'm in Arizona still. Hey, I'm in Arizona still. Oh, look at this. You know, he was doing the whole, look where you're not thing.
Oh, 100%.
No. 100%.
Absolutely.
I don't mind it. I appreciate
Listen,
hey,
when you're in a group,
just
listen, and here's the thing is we took the baseball talk out of the C3 pod general and we made our own little sports nerd subset.
Oh,
and
so told them
when cool shit was happening at spring training, I was like, hell yeah, like, dude, here is Mike Trout popping out again to Logan Webb. Logan Webb pitched in preparation for the World Baseball League. He pitched 2 perfect innings. I got to see that against the Angels. Angels were split squad, but it was at Angel Stadium, so Trout was there and a couple of their regulars were there, but Trout was DHing, so I got to see him take like 4 at-bats, and they were not good. Trout is not on it yet. But no, it's just baseball stuff for baseball nerds. What do you want?
I like
doing it again. I love how he did it again right there, Steve.
Yeah,
totally.
He absolutely did. He made sure
totally.
that he got it in there. He made sure that it was done just correctly.
I got to see. I was lucky enough to witness.
And the veterans discount. I got to tell you, some of the clubs out there do veterans discounts. Some of them do not. So you have to ask at the box office every time. Some of the seats, like when I went to Angel Stadium, they're not expensive seats anyway, so they don't give a discount. But at Giant Stadium, man, it was $30 off an $80 ticket. I got some amazing seats for $50. I put my drink on the Giants dugout for $50. So like the concrete top is just right in front of me. I was right there on the first baseline. It was pretty cool.
Do you know what I hear that as? Just real quick.
What's that?
Look where you weren't.
Right. Well, just to
but hey, did I not offer to both
Brendan,
of you guys?
I have a question.
I have a pull-out bed in my room.
Yeah,
if you guys want to come out for a day or two, crash on the couch. It's not a bragging thing. I 100% offered to open it up to you guys.
He did, and I just want to say this. He also had like that moment of reflection because he posted this on Facebook where he got to see Sublime, right? And he got to see obviously, and he got to see Jake in for his father, Brad, and he kind of had like this moment of holy crap, I get paid for this. And I love that he posted that on social media because any one of us who works in the media, no matter how jaded or experienced we may get, we always have those kind of moments that bring us back to reality and think, wow, this is why I do this. So I do love the fact you got to have one of those. And honestly, I think all of our all the people out there who are watching and listening on a regular basis are thinking, what the hell? Why can't we bring back some of the baseball chat? Just saying.
Right, of course. I mean, we know they are, and especially because we haven't even taken the time to introduce Brett Lawson down in the bottom left corner. We'll go ahead and talk about him. Student of the game here in Las Vegas, part of the Go Live Vegas team, and of course, just any and everything sports. So we've got a lot of that. But I'm you know what, honestly, like I was telling Brendan this probably a couple weeks ago. Brett's really Rain Man because what happens is that he gets into the sports stuff and then turns right back around and knows more about the nerdiest thing than anybody on the podcast. It just absolutely blows my mind.
It's going to be niche, though. It's like there'll be one thing that comes up, and Brett just knows everything about it.
And then
like, how the hell?
Brendan's so right because then in the next moment you'll pivot to something that you guys are absolutely like source masters, industry experts on, and I'm just like crickets,
and that's why the show works.
100%, no doubt, Brendan, no doubt.
And then in the bottom right-hand corner, Mr. Erik Amaya, the editor-in-chief of comiccon.com, the man behind the program. He's the one that pulls all of the strings, especially Brendan's. But, guys, we are missing Mr. Paul Vato. He has claimed that he's on his way, which means we'll see Paul next week.
Right.
Which is okay because you guys have actually had a couple of weeks where I wasn't around. There was a week where Brendan wasn't around. And honestly, I'm not sure what happened. I'm just going to be honest with you.
It always surprises me when Steve comes back from a hiatus, like he's been gone for a week, and like we start talking about last week, and he starts referencing last week because he watched all that nonsense and he wasn't even a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like, I'm so privy. Right.
Got to pay attention. Got to make sure that the asylum is still in order when I'm not here. Okay. So, for the most part, This last weekend, I have to tell you guys, we had a lot of fun here in Vegas. So as you guys know, a lot of you are involved with it. We have productions that we produce, events that we produce. And I'm part of a team with House of Cards Entertainment that produces the Diecast SuperCon, Vegas Toy Con, Vegas Toy Show, Weekend of Wheels, Orlando Toy Show. I can go down the list of properties they have. We have our own as well that we're producing, which is the Unrivaled Show and PokeCon. And PokeCon teamed up with the Las Vegas Card Show this last weekend and did something really unique in the event space, which is we brought our production team in to produce an element of the show for Las Vegas Card Show, which was the trade night. We had a ton of fun. We brought out Evie for photos. We had our friends at Final Round Auctions, did a live auction throughout the night. It was a ton of fun. Robo Skills came out and did trivia with people to win items and everything. But the event was just such a really good, feel-good weekend. It was a really nice kind of break from the normal shows had been here in Las Vegas when it comes to the trading card shows, because it's gotten fairly monotonous, right? And this show just had a little bit different of a pep to it, a little bit different of a step. And I just real quick, I want to send out an absolute, well-rounded applause to Dakota Holsey and his team over at Las Vegas Card Show for putting on a great event for the weekend. Everybody had a good time. It was a great flow. It was very, had a good time. And I spent my weekend at the Ahern. I actually stayed at the venue for 2 days. And my son and I, and this is the part I want to get to, is that my kid, and I just have to point this out, my son Brody is the most caring kid. And I know, look, every dad touts their kid, pats them on the back and does this. When you've been around my child, you'll just understand. Like, he'll race us to the doors to open them for other people, right? Not do it because he gets told, goes and does it before anybody else. I was pretty stressed last week coming in. We've got the Diecast Super Convention coming up, which we're going to be talking about later here in the show. And getting prepped for the week, everything was kind of chaotic. That day, that Friday, when we were getting everything together, we were rushing, we were moving, doing all of this stuff. And Brody comes to me on Saturday morning. He took and sold, he's 11 years old. He took and sold some of his Pokemon cards. I actually sold like a couple $100 in cards, and comes over to me, and he's got the brand new Pokemon Elite Trainer box of what's called Ascending Heroes. And I'm like, oh, dude, you got yourself a box. They're expensive right now. I mean, they're like $120 a box, right? And I'm talking to him, and he goes, Dad, that's for you. And I was like, no, that's yours, buddy. Like, he goes, no, Dad, you've been stressed, and I want you to have some fun. This is for you. And at that point, like as a dad, and I know Brendan's this way too, you kind of go, I can't say no. Like I'm giving him the money to pay for it later, right? I'm going to give him more money so he has his money back. But it's just the gesture, the thought, this is how it is. So I told him, I said, hey, when we get home after the show, we'll rip it then. Like, let's do it when we're at home together, right? So Sunday, we break down. Sunday, we go to dinner, and after dinner, we come home. And, of course, that kid is like, Dad, are we going to open the ETB? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Fourth pack in, we hit the SAR, which is this secret art rare, which is one of the 3 biggest hits in the entire product that you can get. So it was the Golden Dragonite, and it was just such a cool moment. It was such a great end to the weekend where we already had a great experience at the Las Vegas Card Show. He had a ton of fun. He was shooting content with kids, and they were running around the show, making all kinds of stuff. And then to go home and hit one of the biggest cards in the product from something that he bought for me, that was just more of like, Dad, relax. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. I'll tell you, man, like that probably, to be honest with you, that probably made my Las Vegas Card Show weekend even that much greater just because of that moment.
Let me ask you this, Steve, because I've worked, Brennan has as well. To some degree, all of us have. We've been in close proximity to you in even the workspace when Brody was there. He's really immersed into this stuff. Like, it's not just like I'm tagging along because it's my dad. Obviously, there's an element of that too, but he loves the content, the source material that is out there. I have to ask you, because some of my buddies now whose kids are getting older, and who, especially if they have multiple kids, I ask them which one of them kind of take after you, whether it be personality type or just general interest. Do you see him leaning to what you do for a living as a line of work? I know it's kind of far off, and I know it's kind of early because he is younger, but do you see him gravitating towards what you do for a living at some point?
Well, being that his mother's in toys, the stepfather's in comics, and then obviously I'm in, cards, comics, and toys. I think that impresses big upon them, right? And he sees that. He's kind of paved his own interest in his own ways, which is funny because he has his own persona. When he's out at these shows, people know who he is.
No doubt.
Not just because he's with me, right? Because he's gone out and he's made the connections. And
they do wonder why he's there 15 hours a day, but
yeah, they do. And why he's sleeping under a table. By the way, that kid has gotten more hours of sleep underneath the table at a trade show than anybody I know.
Well, you know what amazes me? There's stories, like going back to baseball, there's a lot of stories of guys who historically could just take a nap in the clubhouse right before they're pitching, right before they're playing, and play incredible. Quarterbacks before Super Bowls historically have taken naps. And some people, when they take a nap, they're literally going to sleep. It's as if they're shutting down for hibernation. So when they get up from the nap, it's as if their morning or their day is starting over. Brody's one of those kids who he's up and within 30 seconds, he's back to optimum levels, and then immediately can shut down again in 30 seconds to go back into slumber if he needs to. It's actually pretty impressive. I love it.
He is definitely one of those kids that, without a doubt, has that high motor and definitely does that. Now, speaking of another motor which is broken and not working, Mr. Paul Vato has joined us down in the bottom left-hand corner. Paul, you're still in Chicago, right?
I still am. And speaking of naps, you guys just cut right into my nap, but I guess that's all right.
I sent him a message an hour ago saying, "Hey, we record today," and right at call time, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be late."
As it pertains to that lower third too, I don't know if Paul just thought of that on the fly or got it from the internet, but it's 100% the truth.
It's absolutely, it's got to be completely accurate, which means that there's no time better than to actually discuss Brendan's trip to Innings Festival. I think that's great. And the reason being is because Paul seems to think that the sports talk is what he wants to get into. So Paul, we're going to go ahead and make sure we're going to let you lead this segment. So Paul, take it away.
Hey man, if there's something I can talk about all day long, you guys know that is sports. I mean, it's sports, it's numbers, it's innings, it's anything like that. It's spring break or spring training. The hell is going on in the sports?
All right. That's enough. Anyway, so let's one of the things that I talk about a lot and that we do at conventions a lot is we take nerdy fandoms and we find that sweet spot in the middle where they come together. So at Diecast SuperCon, we have TV stars, we have movie stars, we have people that are in the diecast community, and everybody kind of comes together and they're talking about the things that make them so similar. And that's why I love Innings Festival so much, is because it's music nerds and baseball nerds coming together just to nerd out to their stuff, and it's so much fun. But this year they expanded to 3 days of entertainment, which is a big stretch. Going from a 2-day convention to a 3-day convention is a lot of work, but all of the days were solid. They had Blink 182, 21 Pilots, Mumford & Sons, Cage the Elephant, Sublime with Jacob Noel. We'll get to that in just a sec. Lord Huron, Goo Goo Dolls, Miles Smith, Public Enemy, again, amazing. And then MLB legends and characters were there. Brandon Crawford, Jake Peavy, Torrey Hunter, Sean Dunstan, Jason Kipnis. Just a lot of fun. You could go and watch the interviews with the baseball guys. You could do the pitching machines. They have a gallery arcade there where they have pitching machines that you can bat against, where you can throw to see how fast you can pitch. But this was OK Go. I got to interview Damian Kulash, who turned out to be one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. OK Go, if you don't remember, they're the guys that do the music videos that are like one shot and they're low budget. So their first video was 6 treadmills all lined up, and they were doing choreography across the treadmills. And then they did the Rube Goldberg machine and a marching band one or whatever, but they're a lot of fun. But the biggest highlight for the weekend for me was, and Brett mentioned it earlier, was Sublime. So everybody knows that Bradley Noel tragically died in 1996. He had a 1-year-old son at the time. His name's Jacob. Jacob is now 30, and Jacob is leading the band. So Jacob is in Sublime, and they've done for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. They've done some. This photo, by the way, is by Nathan Zucker. I don't want to discredit any of the photographers because the photographers there are amazing. This one's Ismail Quintanilla III. But here's Jacob Knoll as the rhythm guitar player and vocalist of Sublime. And I got to tell you, if you ever saw Brad Knoll with Sublime live, this is definitely his kid. Like he's not up there doing an act. He's not up there trying to be his dad, but the vocal quality is there. The tonal quality is there. And watching him interact with the other members of the band, his Uncle Bud and his Uncle Erik are up there. And it is surreal. And like I had goosebumps the entire time because it is Sublime. He is very much taken on the mantle of his father. And he's the one guy in the world because Sublime with Rome, everybody hated. Couldn't get behind because Rome is not Bradley Knoll. So the one dude in the world who can be up there and like legitimately claim the role is Jacob Knoll. And it was an amazing show. I could have gone without seeing any of the other acts. I could have gone for this one act and been completely satisfied with whatever price of admission they were charging that day. So really good time. They always put on a good show at Innings. And the third day is a good decision. Had a lot of fun.
And it really works for him, right? Because it's just like you said, he resembles his father. He makes you think of his father. He pays homage to his father, but he's not trying to be his father. And that's
it was on Bradley's birthday too.
That's
like
awesome.
The performance was on Bradley Knoll's birthday. But the thing is when you go, you want to see bands having fun. So I don't remember Switchfoot being this good, but I saw Switchfoot. Right. Switchfoot was up there having fun. They were interacting with the crowd and stuff. You could not know a single Switchfoot song, but really get into it because of the way they were like interacting with each other in the crowd. This guy, Jacob Knoll, is up there, like I said, his Uncle Bud and his Uncle Erik, right? But then, the other members of the band, he's up there talking to them. They're having conversations on stage. Hey, you want to play guitar on this one? He's bringing his friend out to play guitar while he's singing. And then he brought, because he's also got a couple of bands that go to Scottsdale a bunch. And there's bands that they play with at local venues. One of those dudes got up and sang the Spanish verses of, what is it? Mucho gusto, me llamo Bradley, that one. Caress Me Down. He was singing the Spanish parts of Caress Me Down. And it's like he's bringing in all these people that he works with, that he does shows with, that he's known forever, that taught him how to play guitar and stuff. And they're just having a conversation on stage. And that is the most fun to watch.
That's awesome.
Well, you got to love that. And I did get the pleasure. Unfortunately, I was pretty young and not real appreciative of when I got to see Sublime. I didn't pay full attention like I probably should have.
But that's kind of the story of their existence, though, right? They're a band that retroactively kind of gained a lot of steam because, for one, like their third album kind of positioned themselves, the self-release album in '96, right around that came out right after the tragedy. That kind of positioned them for the next step, but then it was all like shuttered from there because they couldn't go on. And then ever since then, it's been trying to fill that void. Now they are. But at the same time, it's like that type of music isn't at the center of the zeitgeist like it once was. But in the 90s, in the Southern California scene, that was the sound.
Right.
That was like
so they were massive in Southern California.
Yeah.
And then they kind of blew up right around the time that Bradley had his tragic death. But the other thing that I didn't actually even know, I knew that Sublime had played the Phoenix, which is local to where I grew up in Santa Rosa, California. It's in Petaluma. I didn't realize that was his last show, was at the Phoenix. I've played the Phoenix. We used to go there on weekends with our punk rock bands and play. And you would see like Metallica, you saw Sublime there, the Ramones played there. So like this venue that's in Petaluma, California was the last place that Bradley Knoll performed before he passed away.
Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Did you have an anecdote? Did you have an anecdote? Because a lot of people, at some point have their personal experience with Sublime, and it's like almost spiritual to a level, but it happens for a lot of different people. Like me, I've seen them live multiple times, but it was with Rome. That's why I cannot wait for the opportunity to get to see Jake. I was too young to ever appropriately see Brad.
They opened for Stone Temple Pilots, I think.
Oh, wow.
Is what it was. So I saw them with STP and I was there for STP. And this was the drug-induced Scott Weiland days. This was the absolute pinnacle of him.
So that's when Stone Temple Pilots was good.
Was good, exactly. And that's why it sucks, because every time you bring up STP, as we're talking about Sublime, you think, damn, we miss Brad. You think, damn, we miss Scott. But then you also realize that when they were doing it, that's when their art was at a pinnacle. So you also, every time you indulge in their art, you kind of have to be, cautious about that as well, because that is a theme.
No, and that was it. And I just, my biggest thing, as I recall, is that I was kind of like the couple of openers for that show, and Sublime being one of them. Like, I just wasn't fully engaged into the experience. But you had that group. Like, if you looked across the crowd, there was that group that was just all pocketed together. You could tell it was just, they were all vibing together. They had that, you know, and when I look back at it, I'm like, you know, that was actually a pretty good performance too. Like it really was. It wasn't just, and that, you know, the years of me DJing and like being in entertainment and seeing these things, I've come to appreciate like the real good artists, you know, like I can go down the list, but like one of my favorite ever was to watch Blue October. But what they did was they were here in Vegas at the, I don't know, one of the concert venues. I can't remember which one it was, but they did their show. Then they left. And when they came back out for their encore, right, to get called out for the encore, when they come back out for the encore, they played another 45 minutes acoustically.
That's the best.
It wasn't
they not
like
only come out for another song,
you know, when those moments and those things, but yeah, just knowing that I had that experience, that I did get to actually go, you know, to the early Sublime stuff and see them. I did see them a couple of times with Rome. They were good. It wasn't memorable, right? It wasn't one of those moments. It wasn't one of those things for me. And a lot of times it was at a reggae festival. I think both times I went is where, you know, I saw them. But, you know, the thing is that when you look at these moments, you look at these situations, look at the kids. Look, when we talk about sports, we talk about, you know, the players that were our guys that now their kids are players, right?
And that's what I was thinking too. Like, because like we see his kid. I remember there was the VH1 Behind the Music special when Jake was still like a little one, and they're basically talking about how he's not going to ever really have a relationship with his father, but he'll always have his father's music. So the fact that now here we are all these years later, decades later, not only is he aware of his father's legacy, he is in many ways adding to it. And that's what makes it almost so like poetic in a way. And like what you said, Steve, you see all these stars now. I was a fan of them growing up, watching them as baseball and football players. Now I'm covering their kids as sportscasters, as a sportscaster. It's unbelievable to me. And I like also what you said. I know we're up against the break, but what you said about how like certain artists are like, there's a live element, and Brendan's mentioned this as well. Certain artists just sound better live. And in some cases, some artists and bands sound better live than they do in the studio. Sublime is one of them because, again, it's that hybridization of, you know, alternative hip hop, you know, that Southern California punk and reggae, you know, the ska reggae feel. They created a style and a sound all their own. And any artist, when you look at them, no matter how like respected or commercially successful they were, any artist who has kind of created their own genre always sounds great live and will always have the live audience element, even if they're, you know, the record sales and the radio play isn't as big for them.
No, I agree. And that's definitely one of them. And you know, Paul, did Sublime have really any impact on you being a kid of the 90s or?
Yeah. I mean, Sublime, Stone Temple Pilots. It's funny that you mentioned that's one of the best concerts I've seen. And that was granted at the United Center in Chicago in a skybox. You know, I'm not going to hang out with the peons.
With the riffraff.
With the riffraff. Thank you for making that sound a little bit better than how I meant it. Yeah. So, and I did. I was very much influenced, but that was the soundtrack of the 90s. And maybe I was a little bit older and running my businesses in the western suburbs of Chicago, but that was, you know, one of the soundtracks of my ice cream shop when I was running that. And it was that so distinctly California. You know, it was like, oh my, and then they're throwing Spanish in. And I was like, wait, this is like Blondie, you know, where they're throwing Spanish in. It's it's very impressive when you see, no offense, you know, and I don't know the whole makeup of the band, but basically gringos, and then speak Spanish into, and I'm like, wow, they're more down with the culture than I am. So yeah.
Where'd you think I learned Spanish? Waiting for my Ruka.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you're what? Yeah, I don't know what that is, but
there you go. That says it all. But no, it's true. Like, and I love how like Caress Me Down. Like a lot of people will learn, not necessarily learn like Spanish that way, but they'll actually stop and try to understand what he's saying. Right? Kind of like even like certain people when they're watching Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. Like there are like if there's one reason, like if there's one thing that could break down a language barrier, it's music, because
I love
that will make you more inclined to
like
wonder what the hell they're saying.
With the Bad Bunny thing, where it's like people are trying to find deep meaning and stuff, and he's like, it's like Mambo number 5. He's like, no, I got lots of girlfriends. I got one named this and one named this and one named this and one named this. And when you watch the translation, it's like
100%.
Okay.
You know
It's like
what's been great about this first?
If English could be like that in terms of their lyrics, so can Spanish, right?
Right.
Go ahead,
You know what's
Steve.
been great about this first segment is that we're talking about all this music, and you can tell that Erik is sitting there, and in his mind, he's like, "This is not the theme music to Harry Potter."
Right.
Like,
Not John. We know John Williams.
Wrong. Not Harry Potter. If it's gonna be theme music, you know what? Actually, I got the Excalibur 4K over the weekend, so I've been kind of mainlining that, and it's all Wagner and a composer named Trevor Jones, and it's just that is the music in my head right now.
Trevor Jones was like a thing during that.
I love the fact that I was spot on with what he was thinking.
No, I did. I asked him, what was the band I asked you about, Erik? Because one of the PR groups that represents all these bands that send me invitations or whatever, it's down by Erik. And I was like, hey, is this a band you're interested in? He was like, no, not at all.
No.
Excalibur's one of those movies. It's kind of like Dazed and Confused. Like you have to remind yourself when it was actually made because it doesn't feel like it was made in the year it was released. Like Excalibur, when was it came out? Like 81 or something, and it feels like it feels like Excalibur came out in like 1994. You know what I mean? By the way, like 96. It seems
right
like
now in this moment, this is a callback to Brett Lawson being Rain Man.
Yeah, right. My bad. I know we have to go get to break.
With that note, Paul says we need to go to a break, so that's what we're gonna do. When we get back, we're gonna be talking on the other side about the Diecast Super Convention coming up March 11th through the 15th here in Las Vegas. The biggest diecast event in the nation comes to Las Vegas. It's about to happen, but that'll be right after this here on the C3 Pod.
Peppermint Patty's the worst. Comic-Con.com, your daily comic convention online. Insightful reviews, previews of the comics, toys, and games you need to know. Delightful chats with luminaries from around the geek spectrum. In print, on video, and everywhere in between. The show never stops on Comic-Con.com.
And welcome back to the C3 Pod. Of course, I'm Steve Johnston, the current toy expert in history's Pawn Stars. And the guys are all here. Brendan Allen, Brett Lawson, Erik Amaya, and Paul Vato. What we didn't do because Paul was late, as always. I mean, never. I mean, you know, he was on his time. That's what it was. Not he was on a time, but the time was his time. Paul didn't get his 30 seconds of self-promotion. But after we talk about lava packs, Paul, it'll be all yours. And lavapacks.com, go grab a mystery pack. They've got Pokemon, they've got Labubu, they've got Bo Jackson's Battle Arena, One Piece, and more coming online. Make sure you go to hobbylava.com. Go get a lava pack. Have some fun. Rip open a card, mystery card. And you never know. It's a mystery pack. You could get an absolute monster out of there. But again, we want to thank them for their support of the C3 Pod. And now Paul Vato gets 1.5 minutes, not the full 2, because he was a little tardy today. Go ahead, Paul. Tell us what you got going on in your world.
Fair enough. Well, of course, I invite everyone to go visit paulvato.com because from there you can find all of my projects that I'm working on. I've been doing a lot of stand-up lately. I'm going to be appearing in Los Angeles. We have a comedy and podcasting festival, and that is the first week of April. So April 1st through like the 6th or 7th, we'll be in Los Angeles around Dave & Buster's. We've partnered up with Dave & Buster's in Hollywood at Ovations. We are at the Comedy Chateau. And the schedule will be out soon, and you can just check out paulvato.com. But if Friday night is my night, if you will, so I'm putting together stand-up comedians. Brendan was gracious enough to come out last year and visit, so I hope he can make another trip out to Hollywood from wherever he's at. So we'd love to have all of our fans and friends and family there. So come on out. Vato coin still in effect. Pick up some Vato coin. And if you were a subscriber to our Patreon, you'd have heard one of the moves from the Kama Susia, which you can also find on Amazon, kamasusia.com. But, you know, if you want some definitions, I guess you should subscribe to the Patreon because it's not for everyone, if you know what I mean. But you will learn some things. And
didn't you write a children's book?
Besides the Kama Susia, I did.
It's wildly unpopular.
Kama Susia for kids. That's right. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
I haven't sold a copy. Okay.
Wow. And we're gonna go ahead and from there, let's discuss the elephant in the room. Does anybody here want to let Paul in on the fact that they've told him to be there April 1st? Let's just talk about the fact that he's probably not aware that his night.
It's like reservation under Rodriguez, and they're like, we don't have it. Who are you?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely not happening. Don't be there. Paul's definitely going to be there. However, no one else will. But I mean, I get it. No, Paul, we hope everything goes well there. And again, give Paul and everything that he supports a follow. He's got his hands in a lot of things, and as much as I give Paul a hard time sometimes, Paul's actually a really great dude, and I love the fact that he's getting up and doing some more comedy. And mainly because he just hasn't been funny on the podcast lately. So I know
nothing else.
Well, he doesn't talk.
Respect Paul's hustle. Because that dude, if somebody says, "Hey, I'll give you $6 to plug," he's like, "Yeah, $6 cash, no quarters,
and a taco."
Professional, consummate.
See, there he is. I love. That's funny, guys. I'm going to do a little self promotion for us, and that is we have the Diecast Super Convention coming to Las Vegas the 11th through the 15th of March at the Ahern Convention Center. I'm excited about this year's event, and I'll tell you why. We've been building this event. This is in its 17th year. Right. And during that time, we've seen the event grow. We've seen the components of the fandom's there and all of that. But one thing they really wanted to be was a lot closer to like the SEMA of diecast. Right. And over the last few years, we've really worked close with the manufacturers and gotten them involved in everything. And we have the title sponsorship with Jada now. So Jada Toys will be there. Greenlight Toys will be coming back with us. We have our friends from Hot Wheels and Matchbox that come out and have their designing team that will be there. But this year in particular, we have added the Japanese manufacturers to the show floor. And this is crazy for me because it's a lot of logistics for these guys. And I've been on a lot of extra hours between the time change differences and making sure that I'm available to them when they have questions and doing things, and then all their logistics of getting everything over. So even just the other morning at 4 a.m, I was messaging with FedEx to release some customs forms to get some product in the country that are being sent by one of the manufacturers. But I want to send a shout out to our friends at Pop Race, our friends at NO64, Tarmac, and then new manufacturer in the marketplace, which their domestic arm, Killa Wheels, has launched at the show as well. And they're all coming out on top of every other manufacturer, all the different ones. And I haven't even mentioned XO America, MGA's Cartoon will be there. I mean, it's absolutely packed with manufacturer support, great vendors, awesome attendees. And there is something to do every single day. And, we've got the commercial. We're actually going to debut the world premiere of the commercial. But by the time the podcast airs officially, it's no secret. We pre-record, guys. What? You took the mask off the bad guy? Was the bad guy?
Right. A podcast being recorded?
Right. What? But we'll take a look at it right now. And our friend Gene, who does have an influencer channel, and I'll make sure that the links to it get sent over. He's on YouTube. He put this together for us at the Diecast Super Convention.
From 10-second cars to time machines, they'll be at the Las Vegas Diecast SuperCon March 11th through 15th, sponsored by Jada, the ultimate collector's car show featuring major manufacturers of small to large-scale die-cast cars. The entire Ahern Hotel hosts vendors and traders of your favorite brands. Plus, meet celebrities like Noel G, Mindy Cohn, JD Pardo, and more. Get your tickets now at diecastsupercon.com.
What I love about this is that we were able to showcase some of the cars that will be involved with the show. And there's a little leak there, and we can put this in there. When we're showing those cars, those two cars featured in the commercial, the DeLorean and the Supra, right, will both be at the show for you to be able to take photos with. And the fact that we have the most screen accurate DeLorean that will be there, that DeLorean is owned by Chris Sanford. Chris Sanford we've talked about him a little bit on the podcast. He is going to be coming in and doing a segment with us here soon, which will be known as 30 Seconds from Chris. And his car is the one that the WB uses whenever they do an event. That DeLorean is the one that they bring out because it's more accurate than the ones they have that are their replicas on display. And then, being that it's a Fast and the Furious anniversary year, we have a Fast and the Furious dinner. Obviously, JD Pardo is mentioned in there. We have Noel G. We have Chad Lindbergh. We have other Fast and the Furious actors will be joining us. And that dinner is going to be incredible. They're going to tell stories, talk about, the production. Think of all the years. I mean, you're over 10 different Fast and Furious movies that are out there.
Some of my favorite Noel G stories are like the things that he hates about the new ones that have come out.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's absolutely passionate about it. Would love to do like a Hector origin story. Would be great for him. Look, that franchise is a monster. Having that involved, having the voices from Scooby-Doo there, which it's car culture. That Mystery Machine van, that's a big deal in the world of diecast. But this event has a ton of fun things. Brendan, I know you've had a chance, and Brett, you guys have both had a chance to be involved in the past. I would say Paul had a chance to be involved, but honestly, he was asleep the whole time.
On the main stage. On the main stage for the entire convention to see.
One of the things that I really like about this convention is, I go to a lot of conventions. I see a lot of different nerdy fandoms. I was just talking to Erik earlier about, what's the focus of WonderCon, and that one's the cosplayers. Every convention has its little niche thing that's unique to that convention. And one of the things that I've never seen before that I saw for the very first time at Diecast SuperCon was like the fandom. They're going all night long with these trading rooms and stuff in the hotel. From the first floor to the 9th floor, you're walking through, and sometimes they'll rent 2 rooms, so you can take all the furniture out of one room and set up like a diecast store inside the other room for the trading. And you walk in, they've got spinners up, they've got display racks and things like that. And it's just, you can just walk around and just talk to people, but they're hardcore trading and stuff. There is a real community there. So they're there to see Jada, they're there to see Ixo, they're there to see the Hot Wheels guys who all show up to these things, but they're also really there to be around each other because they've got these trades and things that are happening, this after-hour event that, and the Ahern is uniquely set up for this because the showroom is here. There's a sky bridge that takes you right over to the hotel. You never leave the premises. So you're just walking from one side to the other, and you go up and down the elevator, and there's all kinds of cool stuff happening all night long. And I've never seen that with any other convention.
And it's a bit of a different clientele, right? Not to, stereotype or lump everyone into the same demographic, but the crowd that flows into this is a little bit more, it's almost like combining those who go to like tech conventions with those who go to the traditional like nerdy type conventions, because even though there's a lot, like the focus is on a lot of the diecast and stuff like that, and even just a lot of stuff that are like collectibles based, it's a lot of car enthusiasts as opposed to nerds rooted in source material, which is a little bit different. So even though there's the entertainment industry tie into it, which is what Steve and, CJ and all the guys behind the scenes are so good at doing, there's also a diehard, car fanatic tie to it as well. And you don't get that in other conventions because there it's usually just your standard to traditional, even though there's so many different types of fandoms, it's more of your traditional of the cloth, fanatic nerd type of feel.
But also look at
great,
these guests.
Different.
So we've got the Mayans coming. The Mayans, JD Pardo is going to be there, Frankie Loyal, Michael Irby, Emilio Rivera. Like, these guys are massive stars. So whether or not you're into diecast, whatever, if you've watched TV in the last 10 years, these guys. Lou Diamond Phillips. Like, I know who Lou Diamond Phillips is, but my parents' generation definitely knows who Lou Diamond Phillips is because he was in, Diablo, Miami Vice, La Bamba, Young Guns, Twilight Zone. Mindy Cohn, you might know her as the voice of Velma, but you're also going to recognize her immediately, from the Facts of Life, American Graffiti. And then you look at these things, and Steve was saying, the Mystery Machine. But in the Mayans, what kind of show do you have without the bikes, right? And
absolutely. The automobiles are characters. In fact, we were talking with our friends at Greenlight, and there's this outside chance, and this is very outside chance, we may have Eleanor there. And if you know what Eleanor is, that's the actual car from Gone in 60 Seconds, the one that everybody, like, that's one of the most iconic movie cars of all time.
But the thing is whether or not you've seen the film, and it's a great film, and that's an iconic car from the film, whether or not you've seen the film, if you're a car guy, you know that car, know that model, 100%. You know what the population report is for the ones that are restored. I think there's 3 of them that are fully restored, that are functional.
You'll know Kit, you'll know the Bond car from Goldfinger. Like, you'll know all of them. I mean,
we also have
pop culture lore.
We have a GT40 that's going to be, there's a display car, and it's an original from the 67 with 3,500 miles on it. It is a dude pristine.
I used to do, I restored a 1975 LED2 Stingray, right? So everybody in Sacramento, I was living out there at the time, that had a Stingray. Everybody knew all the other Corvette guys.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, I lost it. What the hell were you talking about a second ago?
Your train of thought?
Well, when you go to Innings Festival and you tell everybody, look at what I'm doing, it's easy to forget what you're currently doing.
I swear to God, I had a point.
It's okay.
Oh, it was the mileage. That's what it was. So there was a dude who had a 78 Indianapolis pace car, which is the black and silver, and it's got the Indianapolis, the logo on the side, because every year they pick a car that gets to do the pacing at the Indianapolis. And this guy had 32 two-digit original miles on the car documented. So he bought the car in 1978. He rolled it onto a trailer, took it to his house, rolled it off the trailer, rolled it back onto the trailer to go and get the seals and the oil and stuff done. He was doing all the maintenance and everything on it. It had the original air in the tires, but it's like he's not enjoying the car. He's not driving the car. It's 32 original miles. And it's like, that's important to you, but that's not going to double or triple the price if somebody's going to buy the car. It's like, yeah, it's a mint car, so you're going to get mint price. You might get 50 or 60,000 for it, but you're not getting 200 just because you never drove the damn thing.
And what Steve said is that very much true, rings very true, because this convention, what's so cool about it is that, and kind of what the point that Brennan made, is that if it is an iconic car, it'll somehow be represented there at some point. So it's kind of like this sense of like a pop culture mecca through a very certain lens, no different than like what you're trying to do at PokeCon, and no different than what, Comic-Con and all the other iconic national ones do. But Erik, I want to ask you this, to bring you in the conversation. What would be the most iconic vehicle in the history of movies, entertainment, whatever, that isn't a car? I'd say it has to be the Falcon, right? The Millennium Falcon.
Why would you answer the question for him? Ask a question and answer. What's wrong with you, man?
I'm giving my take to see if
it's the sportscaster. The sportscaster always puts in his personal opinion as he hands it off.
Yeah, Steve, thank you. I didn't even have to explain it. Erik, go ahead.
So the problem is you are dealing with a Doctor Who fan, so it's the TARDIS.
Okay,
I knew the answer before you asked the question, but you can't
But no, Brennan, you can't, because see, this is where you don't get it. This is, and I'll take it, Steve. This is where now Erik and I would then immediately segue into the discourse, where he would bring up points, I'd bring up points, and then if it was embrace debate style, we'd start yelling at each other. But we don't do that. But thank you. I'm interested to know, because I know Erik's a Star Wars guy, but I didn't know if there was something else out there. That would actually be a fun debate, though. Between can you imagine a Doctor Who diehard and a Star Wars diehard going at it?
As a vehicle, the TARDIS is fascinating. It was a budget thing where they're like,
it's a cooler concept.
We can't make a spaceship, but we have these foam boxes everywhere, right? So the whole thing of it's bigger on the inside, so they can just film the whole thing from a soundstage and be like, oh well, it's the TARDIS. Everything fits because it all fits. And then when it changes, it's just we are on a smaller soundstage, but this is just a different corner of the TARDIS that we're in now.
This is where some film nerd goes in. Well, actually, it's a HAL from 2001, A Space Odyssey. Even that's not really a vehicle; that's more of a software, but still.
Yeah, nobody else in the room knows what the hell you're talking about. So
Erik knows what I'm talking about. Erik knows what I'm talking
about. Is a cool spaceship. It really is.
And then what the best thing is that Discovery's kind of like the Interstellar aspect, where it's that's what a spaceship would really look like. It does, because Star Wars is incredible, even Star Trek. But those are more like airplanes in space, you know what I mean? Or like aircraft, or even naval ships.
Okay, so talking about ships.
The Discovery looks like an actual real life spaceship.
In sci-fi. Some of the ships, like you said, are super sanitary. They look like they're the inside of an operating room, and some of them are just completely grungy dirty. Why is there no ship in between where it's they clean when they can, but they have other shit to do?
Right. I mean, write the screenplay.
You're Han Solo, and all you're doing is
it's either completely jacked up
all the time,
or it's perfectly spotless.
That hunk of junk is not clean.
No.
I can't believe you guys didn't say the USS Enterprise, because you guys were all wrong.
Well, okay, here's the thing.
I mentioned the Enterprise. I mentioned Star Trek. I mentioned Star Trek.
I think I like the Enterprise more than the Falcon.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay, that's interesting. A lot of people have that take. Yeah.
We could go down the street with just pictures of those vehicles, and I would argue that is iconic as the Millennium Falcon is.
Let's do this. At Diecast SuperCon, let's do this.
People will actually pick the Enterprise out and be able to identify it
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, because those were the two in my mind, and that's why I kind of wanted to ask Erik, because I was hoping he would bring up something.
The other
else,
one I think
he
that
did,
this is newer.
Yeah,
but I think that the other one that there is, and that is going to be the Milano from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians, right?
Because that's another one that again,
Razor Crest is getting a lot of attention now,
and the Razor Crest, but they blew it up. But
he has another one now for the movie.
I know. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm trying to think, is there something that isn't spacecraft that's out there that we're missing? Like, does anyone?
The F-14 Tomcat from Top Gun.
Kit.
Kit we mentioned in the car discussion. I'm talking like
got one, right? The time machine from the 1960s time machine.
Well, I mean, that when you go off of literature, movies, isn't there a streaming adaptation? So I mean, that's pretty iconic. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of I feel like there's something we're missing. Maybe we'll.
I mean, maybe we are, but I'm on the belief that it's going to be an Enterprise, the Falcon. TARDIS is up there.
Yeah.
In my opinion, not just because of the fandom there. I would argue, the Mandalorian's Razor Crest probably pretty good.
I mean, if we're talking,
one is another one.
Slave One's a big one.
Fairly,
the Justice League Watchtower. I mean, if we're going with the little secondary ones, that's a big one. But if we're talking major ones,
you know what? Another one, which is funny because when
the 1989 Batmobile,
I've never seen it, and that is
the Batmobile. The Batmobile is the one iconic car we weren't bringing.
Well, it's the
1989.
Right.
The 1989, because you can take all the variations that came in the whatever, but they were variations on the 89 original design.
Right.
Because everything that came after that, they're like, oh, let's put some more vents in here, let's get some different lights or whatever. Yeah. But it was the same basic shape that that Fireball came up with.
When we're talking about
the Tumbler, the Bat Pod, ground-based vehicle. But if we are talking ground-based vehicles that aren't cars. The Bat Pod is definitely up there, even though it was only in 2 movies. Like the Bat Pod was like everyone, because after the Bat Pod, everyone imagined Batman riding motorcycles.
Yeah, but
up to this day,
the answer in the superhero world, the answer is Wonder
the Batmobile,
Invisible Jet.
Ooh, that's another good one. See, that's what there needs to be more planes that I feel like that we're missing out on.
For sure. Well, that's why I mentioned.
What about light cycles?
F-14 Tomcat and
Light Cycles is a good one, Brendan. That's
which one?
Light Cycles are all
Light
Cycles
from
Tron.
Yeah, Light Cycles from Tron.
Paul's got something down there. What's up, Paul?
Did Steve Austin, the Bionic Man, have a vehicle? Wasn't it like a?
He's talking about Stone Cold coming out in the truck with all the stuff spraying the beer.
His quad, Steve Austin's quad. Yeah,
I mean, when you get into some of these cars and some of the stuff, but I'll tell you guys, the Diecast Super Convention, as Brendan mentioned, there's programming, from 8 a.m. until, after midnight. There's showroom events every single night. So there's parties from the manufacturers. Wednesday, you've got Green Light. Thursday, you've got Cartoon. I'm completely lost. Friday, we have the charity auction with XO America. Saturday, we have Jada hosting a rap party. We've got breakfast with Big Lou, Louis Tanahara. We've got Pop Race hosting a dinner. We have a Fast and Furious dinner. Our friends at Kilo Wheels are doing a members dinner that, one of the nights. And then that doesn't count all of the things. Brendan actually found out he could race for his pink slips, because we actually have the downhill races one night that go until start at 11 p.m. We do case opening parties. So there's this cool.
Is that toy racing or is that actual vehicles?
Yeah, toy racing.
Oh, okay.
There's this really cool case opening party, which these are fun. So basically, you can come into the case opening party. It's completely free to attend. We have cases of Hot Wheels that are unopened, and it's a mixture of different case codes. And you, for $20, get to open the case and then buy any car out of there for $2 a piece. So you open it for $20, and then any car that's in there you can buy for $2. And in the world of Hot Wheels, the Hot Wheels guys are chasing the super treasure hunts, which are like the limited edition, not one per case exclusive, randomly inserted type thing. And those type of events are so fun when you've got 20 people sitting on the floor tearing through cases of Hot Wheels. You can hear it all moving around and shaking around, and you hear them oohing and ahhing about different castings that are in there. Because there's cars that, when they hit the retail shelf, the secondary market, super treasure hunts will be $50, $60, $70, $80, right? Some of the variations on cars will be, $4, $5, $6, $7. But one of the things I wanted to mention that is really, really cool for this event that I have not talked about a lot, and we need to really push a rollout on. Our friends at Tarmac have Tarmac trading cards, and they're introducing them at the show to the attendees. So you'll have a chance to get a free pack of exclusive Tarmac trading cards to the show. And I can tell you what they're based around, because their exclusive for the show is an RWB Porsche. So these first cards are actually based on their exclusive. And then there's a chance to pull some numbers, exclusive cards out of the pack. So it's not just like every pack is exactly the same. It's really exciting to see that world of trading cards, cars, toys, the pop culture realm, comedians like Paul Vato.
Hey, I know you've got a whole system there, but can I please implore you to please maybe feed your the people that are watching you? Because then this way I don't have to run around bringing tacos to certain people because they haven't eaten, they're starving. So I've got to, get up early by like noon or something.
Get the donuts by noon or something.
The venue has great food options. Let's be first and foremost. There's great food options on.
They do have great food options for the majority of people.
We did provide food to Brendan. However, Brendan, honestly, he looks at me and he goes, watch, I'm going to inconvenience Paul. And he sends him a message, right? So let's be fair here and let's talk about what that was actually done for. And that was just to put any type of disruption into what you had planned for the day. Brendan,
why are you minimizing the fact that I was starving to death?
That's what I'm telling you. Feed your guys. I mean, I know the food is great there. Are you kidding me? It's at the Ahern, and they've got great food options. And Vegas in general has great food options. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is that your poor, for lack of a better word, your employees, I know they're not, your staff think
talent
is
talent. Yep. Your personnel.
That's stretching it a little too far. The people that are hanging out there with you are starving, apparently.
You know what? I didn't mention not once until just now how many times you farted on that couch while you were pretending to be asleep. But I got to tell you, man, it was hard to keep a straight face because that is some noxious, foul, just stank, Paul.
Well,
but
I was
out there. I'm going to go ahead and put you out there.
I was sleeping. I was pretending to fart.
The best part of the whole thing was Paul's asleep. And then Brendan, we're getting ready to start up one of the actual streamed content things. Mm-hmm. And Brendan reaches over and he's like, Paul, wake up. And it was funny because his glasses had kind of fell. He was curled up in a fetal position. And then all of a sudden Brendan does that. And as soon as it breaks, Brendan's like, well, we're here at the end. And Paul's like, we're here, Diecast SuperCon. He's just repeating what Brendan's saying because that's the first thing that came to him when he.
It's like the kid in class when the teacher calls him. He wakes up. It's the square root of
Is it Jesus?
Yeah.
Equals MC squared. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I think I may have told you guys this on the podcast. It may have been some friends I told this recently in person, so I may be confusing the two. But I had a buddy who I took in a Spanish class. Who every time the teacher called, it was a football teammate in college, and every time the teacher called on them, because it's classic Spanish fashion, even in high school, they're going to ask you the question in Spanish. They want you to answer in Spanish. So every time the teacher would ask him a question, he had no idea what to do. So he just took the easiest shot in the dark every time he would say, see. Every time. Every freaking time. So she could be asking him, what do you think of the weather today?
And that
what are you going to have for lunch? What did you do last night? Yes. Okay.
That works with the majority of Spanish teachers who are not from a Spanish-speaking country who learned Spanish while they were to get right. But I had one, Senora. Oh man, what was her name? I can't even think of her name. I'll think of it 2 hours from now.
I love
it. How about you speak about it and tell people on the Patreon about it?
She was from Spain, right? And she knew that trick. And so she would ask you a question that would actually require you to use a sentence to answer. It was never a yes or no question.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was the same type of deal. She was asking him a question with context relating to him, addressing him as a person. She would even be asking about the shirt he was wearing. He would say, yes, Yeah.
I almost failed advanced Spanish because Almost.
Because you speak that street Spanish. We know you're from the hood, Paul. It's good.
Well, because they would ask me, I would say something, and then they'd say, like, well, why is that? What rule does that follow? And I don't even know it in English. How am I going to know it in Spanish? And I would say, like, I don't know. It just sounds right. They're like, well, not it just sounds right isn't the right answer. What rule does it follow? And then I'd ask them, well, is it right? They'd be like, well, yeah, it is right, but what rule?
That's why.
So Paul's basically pushing back on the entire concept of conjugación. Basically, which is what holds up every person trying to learn Spanish. Well, and apparently English is horribly conjugated. We just don't realize it because it's.
I still remember my irregular verbs.
Yeah,
is dias con se ve ten ven.
Yeah.
If anybody was to be able to talk about how Paul's schooling probably didn't go very well, it's definitely the substitute teacher of the program, Brett Lawson.
Yes,
he is.
Apparently, you can just show up in Vegas with a fake ID that says Elvis Presley on it, and they'll let you teach kids.
They might.
Like, absolutely. There's a reason why it's ranked where it is, but there's also reason it works. It's like a symbiotic relationship because since the district is so bad and so desperate for teachers, they're desperate to bring in anyone and anybody who's to be a potential sub. But because of that, it also kind of shows where Vegas is. So it's in this echo chamber, like cycle where it never gets better. But at the same time, as a sub, I'm babysitting anyway. And it's high school kids. And these kids nowadays, I mean, I'm not trying to sound, I graduated in 2012, but we talked.
You said these kids nowadays, but it's true. Like
exactly. Well, that's why I just clarified. I gave the disclaimer. I graduated in 2012. I get it. But at the same time, at least I'm a millennial, like I'm a later millennial, but we talked in class. I'll literally say in the beginning, the first 30 seconds after I tell them what's going down and basically what they have to do today, I said, talk as much as you want, just keep the volume low so we don't disturb anyone outside or have any attention brought into the room. And it's like dead silent. It's like it's the SATs going on. Sometimes I want to get up there and say, y'all, you can talk.
They think it's a trick.
Yeah, exactly. Or they'll walk up skittishly, to ask for the bathroom pass. I'm thinking, what do these teachers put you through? Or maybe it's just like the newer generation because of the tablet screen and stuff like that. Maybe it's because they don't like to socialize as much. I don't know. I don't mean to get all sociological, but maybe that is why. Who knows?
Eric, it's like, listen, I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm supposed to be teaching, but if you guys don't get me in trouble, there's candy after.
Bro,
Eric, I don't know if this is something that we should really pay attention to or not, but did Brett just reference the fact that he just surpassed his 10-year reunion? Because I'd like.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
22.
So
I don't want to say what reunions coming up this summer for me.
I'm just gonna take this back.
Junior for me, in fact, and I don't want to say how long it is.
Exactly, and I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. So on that note, guys, go to diecastsupercon.com, grab some tickets, come out to the show, have some fun. Full-size car show included in your ticket on Saturday, as well. Ton of stuff. Go see all the stuff that's going on. Make sure you follow the social media. Don't follow Brendan Allen home. You can just follow him online. But please make sure that you guys check it out. Diecast SuperCon, March 11th through the 15th at the Ahern here in Las Vegas. And with that note, we're going to go to break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the upcoming comic books of the week. Yes. I'm sure there's going to be 77 more number ones right here on the C3 Pod.
Peppermint Patty's the worst. Comicon.com, your daily comic convention online. Insightful reviews of the comics, toys, and games you need to know. Delightful chats with luminaries from around the geek spectrum. In print, on video, and everywhere in between. The show never stops on Comicon.com.
We want to welcome you back to the C3 Pod, third and final segment, brought to you by our friends at the Nerd Bar here in Las Vegas. Make sure you stop on down at the Neonopolis second floor. Go up, see Johnny and the team up there. They have all kinds of cool things for you to do. They have an arcade, bowling alley. Get your craft cocktails, and of course, you could even take a ride on the bowl. I think that's what Brett Lawson did last time. Check it out. Videos are scathing everywhere of it. The thing is that we knew that he was connected about it. So during the Patreon segment, we were just having a conversation off, and Brett brought up sausage, and Paul didn't get a chance to respond. So, Paul, what do you think about Brett's sausage?
Yeah, tell me. Enlighten us all.
I mean, my relationship with sausage, and sometimes you don't want to know how it's made. You just want to enjoy the sausage and not even figure out what goes into the sausage. Right. That's all I have to say about sausage.
That's all he has to say about the sausages.
Gotcha. Noted.
Well, We're going to get into the new comic books of the week. We do have some number ones. And speaking of food, I think we're kicking the top off. That's your segue, Brendan. I know that you've been looking.
But you were introducing the wrong book. You were introducing.
I know.
Well,
I was,
up
but
later.
it was funny. And I thought
Steve and I are all like, all right, segue.
Well,
all comic books.
Ready.
All right, Magic and Colossus number 2. This one's got the first full appearance of the Immortal. This one says, Purge on St. Petersburg. The Immortal and his demonic forces have corrupted the Rasputin's homeland. Racing against the clock to root out their villain, the siblings' biggest foe will be with each other. Will Ilyana and Peter be able to settle their differences, or will they be doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past?
I know that we've talked about AI and how all that stuff and everything. Why would an artist adapt an AI style for their art? Because this, to me, looks kind of AI-ish. I mean,
it looks like it's filtered, yeah.
Right?
I get it that the colorist has a hard time because making metal look like metal without a foil cover is hard. But this is a little bit too like it is like a filter on a cell phone.
It's also not my favorite. What was it? David Nakamura, right? Is this guy? This isn't my favorite cover of his either. Like every cover he does for Thundercats is awesome. Like they're so good, and this is I don't know.
I do like the flame reflecting in Colossus's face, but I think that's about the only thing is they did get the metal coloring and the reflections correct.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I mean, I'm just looking at it as a complete package and just saying it doesn't have that. I feel like this is special art look to it.
Well, it's because if you have two cool mutant characters like this, every time you see the X-Men, they're always doing something, right? It's not a profile shot of any X-Men, mutant ever. This is the same. This goes against that, and now because of that, it feels jarring. Even if the actual characters themselves look cool, and I agree with Brendan, the actual shine off Colossus, like the way it's refined, looks very metallic, looks very chiseled, looks very hard and firm, like he's supposed to be. So there's a texture to it, but at the same time, it's not conveying any type of story, and that's what you want in your mutant-oriented comics.
You said within 5 minutes, you said sausage, you said hard, you said firm, and Paul Vato has not spoken up. I believe the man's asleep.
Yeah, Paul, this is why you were on the show. Like, come on, dude, I am teeing it up for
this. Is all you bring to the table.
Yeah, this is your
wheelhouse. Pavel. Eto a comic book Horoshoa. This is a good comic book. I like this.
Okay, so
that still did nothing with like the tee up.
Let's take a look at the 1 in 50 Domenico Carbone Colossus Virgin variant.
This one to me screams more of like a classic X-Men cover, whatever. Yep. This is a Virgin variant. It's a 1 in 50, so it's going to cost you 3 or 4 times the cover price. But I'm interested to know what you guys think is happening here, because you see the eyes up top. Is he ripping apart a Sentinel? Is this him busting into the head of a Sentinel?
Yeah,
that's a cool shot.
And again, it shows action. That's what you want. Because the X-Men get their asses kicked probably more than other. That'd be Superman, but that's DC. So in Marvel, like if you're a
Fantastic Four takes some pretty good.
Fantastic Four definitely does in terms of the storylines, but on the covers, like. On X-Men covers, there are so many covers of them just getting absolutely waxed, or there's the cover of them doing something like this that looks really badass. But there's always an element of action. Spider-Man, Daredevil, Spider-Man. There's some like characters you could just have a profile pic and it looked cool, right? Even Batman and DC, and on the other side, but certain characters you need action.
But even with the Batman,
X-Men, you need action.
When Batman isn't doing anything, he's still doing something though. He's brooding over the city,
gargoyle, thinking. Yeah,
cape flowing up behind him. Like it's not just him standing in a JCPenney studio smiling.
True. Yeah.
Some characters this is very 90s.
Some characters can be more static. Some characters can be more fluid. Yeah. It just depends. Yeah.
This is
a very 90s look. Yeah.
Original cover was very like today. It definitely shows the different contrast and styles, and that's cool. All right, tell us about that first number 1 of the week, Brendan.
All right, Paul, this one's for you. This is Tigress Island number 1. Oh. It's a group of down on their luck actresses kidnapped to an island prison run by a sadistic female warden. Working together is their only chance of escape, but trust issues abound. Action adventure inspired by exploitation films, ridiculously fun, seriously sexy. This is Image. Image does a bunch of like weird noir. This seems like it's going to be like a locker room mystery kind of thing, and they are very heavily leaning into the 70s sexploitation like genre with this one.
And that's why using that exact term, that's the perfect way, right, to define it. Because at one point there was a genre, so much so to the point where exploitation had subgenres, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it has a cult following. It doesn't necessarily have the most longevity behind it, but because of that, you could pick it back up at certain points in time.
Oh, I doubt this is more than 6 issues. This is probably a 4-issue
right
mini. Yeah.
Right.
Paul, what do you think?
This is definitely right up my alley, and you can rest assured I'm going to go out and get this. If no one sends it to me, I will actually then go out and spend my hard-earned bucks to pick up this particular comic, because that's, all those sexploitation flicks of the 70s, and I could, start listing them, but maybe this is not the appropriate place in case Steve's child is listening. But check out Scissor Sisters. I'm just going to throw that out there.
What I like about this, I actually like the contrasting of the colors and the use to calling it back to the logo. I think that's done really well. That too. Very well thought through here, which is very cool. And I like that whole, it kind of, you're getting the color tones in the bottom portion, but at the same time, it's made to kind of almost look black and white, right? Mm-hmm. To kind of give that feel. I like that. I think it's very cool. I actually think this is a very great art style.
With the coloring of that bottom panel, it looks like they're doing back to calling back to the 70s style, the sexploitation, whatever. It almost looks like Day Shot for Night.
Yeah,
Erik, in film, right? The coloring, how it's not quite right, but that's how they did nighttime at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so.
It's a cool cover. We'll see what this book does. Obviously, it's the first one, so find out if people like it or not. Next up is Imperial Guardians #1.
Right. So they're doing the thing that they do with the X-Men and every other super team, where they've got a whole new cast of characters here. So the Imperial Guardians #1 is the first team appearance of the new Imperial Guardians: Gamora, Captain Marvel, Amadeus Cho, Darkhawk, and the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Let's see. This is really, really long. So let's pull out. 5 unlikely operatives recruited by Maximus of the Inhumans. Their mission: protect the delicate balance of the new galactic union by any means necessary, and failure is not an option. That's all I'm going to read, because there are about 1,000 more words of this.
I mean, I love it just because it's Marvel tapping into the cosmic element. I know I mentioned this in the Patreon segment, but we tend to be not hypercritical, but continuously critical of Marvel, because since they have so much volume, right? Hence our lower third there. Make Marvel great again. Thank you, Erik. Like, if you're watching on the video side, but we talk about it so often because there's so much volume, right? We have to talk about it simply because, Brennan has to refine this a lot of times. We could make this every week Marvel nonstop, but Marvel has so much out there, it lends itself to criticism. But every now and then, we also do the due diligence, basically, and give them credit. I'm going to do so here, because anytime they tap into anything with Guardians or the cosmic aspect, Cosmic Ghost Rider, I think, is a badass character, right? Frank Castle on a motorcycle.
That's another Donny Cates creation, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have Gamora in there, you have Captain Marvel, and then you have the newer side. It's cool. I think every time you go to this, kind of like how I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, anytime you do anything Marvel Knights related or anything street level, I'm hooked. Anything you do, any that stuff with the modern cosmic heroes, that also grips me in. So I would give it a shot.
I'm going to read a couple excerpts from the grossly long solicit. And it says, and there's a reason for this, and I'm going to read these. And so
I'm curious to see if you've zeroed on the same sentence I have, because
one of them is, but can they do Maximus' dirty work and keep their consciences clean? Mm-hmm. Why has Kree Grand Admiral gone rogue and attacked Hala? What's going on with Darkhawk's mind?
And here comes
what deluded fool thought Cosmic Ghost Rider was a team player? And most importantly, what kind of a game is Maximus really playing? Yeah. And you know what? That solicit sums this entire thing up of how I was going to identify this book. And it was one word. And that one word is why.
Yeah.
Why? Well, they actually asked that.
They're actually telling you this book is no good. We don't know why we did this. None of it makes sense or works, but go ahead and give us your money.
Well, as Cosmic Ghost Rider, he was a loner, but also as Frank Castle, he was a loner. That's a great point. It's why do you think that Frank Castle fits into a team?
And why do you think Darkhawk, you know what's going on in Darkhawk's mind? He's trying to figure out why he's there. Okay. That's what's going on. There's
he's got wings. Somebody has to be able to fly.
Well, it's also like how so many movie trailers went from being back in the old day, like the golden age of cinema, like 4 to 5 minutes long, but they would not show a lot of footage. Then the trailers went from like 45 seconds to 90 seconds long for a long time, where they showed you a lot of different footage, but not that much of the whole like spectrum, right? Now, outside of Marvel, who actually on the studio side still does they have their formula for trailers. They could make a good trailer for a movie that's going to wind up being trash. They've done that before, right? And even some of their TV shows. But at the same time, like when you look at just collectively, trailers across the board now are so long. And sometimes you feel, why am I even going to watch the movie? They gave me the entire 3 acts right there, right? So sometimes the marketing of giving you so much, even if they're asking a lot of questions, is giving really away, everything that gives you any incentive to see it or read it to begin with.
They're so confident that they're going to make you feel silly for asking these questions that they're putting the questions out in their solicit.
Well, it's kind of like what professional wrestling does, right? We always talk about it. Like, just because everybody's in on the fact that it's not real doesn't mean you should promote the fact that it is scripted. The suspension of disbelief is what makes it fun. At the same time, like if Kevin Feige came up before every Marvel movie or George Lucas came up before every Star Wars movie and said, yeah, this is all stupid, don't take it seriously, we would all say, well, yeah, no shit, George, that's why we're here, right?
That's what it's the fun. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I thought he came out and said, why are we doing this? I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna keep the whys rolling. Brendan, why is number 5 on here?
Because it is Spider-Man, and I love how much you love, or I know how much you love a Spider-Man number 1. This is Spider-Man Meals to Astonish, which makes absolutely no damn sense whatsoever. But it's the first appearance of Chef Anna Amayama, who previously only appeared in digital comics. Dive into a brand new adventure. Daily Bugle food critic Chet Chakowski and intrepid photographer Peter Parker are headed downtown for the opening of a brand new world-class restaurant, Alebrijes. But when Rhino interrupts the festivities, it's up to Spider-Man and his friends to save the day and their dinner. This has got to be the stupidest damn thing.
Rhino to have food as well. Why can't Rhino have food?
You started reading it, and as soon as you started reading it, I couldn't not laugh. And you can't tell me that the people behind this book, there's no way they take this serious whatsoever.
But in fact, at the creative team.
I'm pretty sure the creative team is looking at Marvel and going like, we just stole money from you. Like literally we're watching them rob Marvel right in front of our eyes.
But is this like a shout out then to Jose Andres, the Spanish chef?
Oh,
like,
did
they owe him a favor, or is it because he is such a great guy that he does feed?
Wait till the character Ramsey comes in and everyone gets yelled at. It's going to be unreal.
No, they forgot to pay him for catering one day, and so they were like, "How can we do something to get this lawsuit off our back? We'll put him in a comic, and we'll just wash over."
He does have some amazing restaurants, so Jaleo, and then his special restaurant. It's like $300-400 a person, but it's not to be missed. Called just the E with the tilde on top, or whatever it's called. But
so you took Spanish, right, Paul?
I did.
So you should know what that character's called.
It sounds right. That's all I can tell you.
I just want to tell you.
I love how the theme, literally every segment in between Caress Me Down and like some of Sublime song is in between like talking about Spanish class, and in between this now we've hit Espanol. Reference of it in every segment.
Next week's episode is going to be in Spanish.
I thought you were going to say it's going to be like French or Italian. That'll be the theme next week.
I just have to say this, guys, and I'm going to tell you
romance
this right
languages.
Now. This is me being very honest with the entire group right now. This is the lowest point of the podcast. Like, I don't know how we go and where we go from here. Paul,
well, we go to a really good book. It's where we go from here.
We can go this low, Paul, but guess what? We got there.
I blame Jose Andres.
Let's go ahead and see if we can bring this thing back, and let's try to pull it out of here. And let's give a good exorcism to this one. There you go, Brandon.
So this next one, this is a personal pick. If you did not read The Exorcism at 1600 Pen, you need to go back and read that one. This is going to be a standalone, but it is a follow-up to Exorcism at 1600 Pen. So they did it with the White House. Now they're doing it with Buckingham Palace. The next installment in the Dark series that dared to possess an entire nation. First, it was America, now England. It's 5 a.m. at 10 Downing. The Prime Minister gets a call that bolts him up right out of bed. The royal family has been lost at sea. Parliament and Buckingham Palace explode with action in the aftermath. Some suspect the prince and his wife, the princess, were attacked. Others whisper the tragedy was a result of the long-standing family curse. Either way, Playboy and recovering addict Theo Belmont is next in line to the throne. Can he step up to the role, or will he be consumed by his demons? This is excellent paranormal, like crime procedural. The first one was super good. They've got the cast is returning to put out the second one. I have really, really high hopes for this one. And like I said, if you haven't read 1600 Pen, grab it. It's in trade paperback. You can get it digitally. You can get it lots of different ways, but read them both, because this one, if it's anywhere close to as good as the first series, it's going to be fantastic.
They have a tendency to do this style of book very well, and they deliver on this time and time and time again. So the fact that this is in here, I'm not surprised. The fact that you're championing the, source material in the background of this, I agree with. I think it is. And I think this cover is perfect for what it is, right? Keeps it very open, very unique. You know what you're going into, but right. And I think that's really cool. I think that it's very cool. The cover is not overwhelming. It's not something that I'm like super excited about, but it's got some really great elements where you still have the shadow of the person behind Buckingham Palace, but it actually is that smoke, that white part of the smoke that's there. Just done really well. I think it's very cool, and it's definitely interesting to see. Now there's another cover, right?
Yeah, there's another cover, and this one leans more into the noir. But this is an open order cover, which is a foil variant, and you don't see that very often. Usually when you get to foils, it's not open order. It's, an incentive cover or whatever. And I'm going to assume that the foil is going to be on that crown right there, but it's got the crown, it's got the black, it's got the red. So it's very, very heavily into the noir, but then with the upside down cross, because it's a reflection of the cross, on the Corona there, there's just a lot of really cool elements to this. I like both covers, but this one right here is really, really well done.
Yeah, this is a cool cover in my opinion. What do you think of this one, Paul?
I love it, but I'm also somewhat of a what's the word, royal file? No, that's not the right word. But I'm a little bit about the kings and queens and especially of British origin. So this speaks to me.
An Anglophile?
Anglophile is everything English.
Everything's British. Yeah.
Royal file is not quite right, but it's close.
What is it? Monarch file? Monarch file? Okay. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. No, that was a good, because initially when he said, I was waiting for him to say British or English, so I was going to say Anglophile, but once he said more kings and queens, I'm thinking, are you talking about of any country, of any, heritage or nationality? But no,
almost.
No, go ahead. Yeah, no, I feel you. There's an element of royal heritage that you like.
Sometimes I think you guys need to realize that Paul will just say stuff to say things.
It's called a royalist.
Again, that's why he's here.
Yeah. Specifically obsessed with the English royal family, you're a royal file. Or royalist, sorry.
Which everyone turns into every time there's any type of royal wedding.
I love that. Hey, that's Brendan correction number 2. And actually it could be 2 or 2 and 3 simultaneously.
All right, we'll go to 3 of them.
What's great about it,
a royal file
is it was a correction by Brett that then was corrected again by Brendan. So it literally became to the 3rd power. So it almost should be 3 to the 3rd power. Right?
Exponents. I love it.
Now, can I make the distinction here? Because he was not wrong with royal file.
Some more while you're here.
He was not wrong with royal file. That's a real word, and that's being obsessed with monarchies in general. But they call you a royalist when you're specifically obsessed with the British monarchy.
Mm-hmm. Royal file.
So if I'm not going, hold on.
No, Eric,
if I'm not mistaken here. Not only did Brett correct you, then Brendan corrected Brett, and then Brendan just corrected Paul on correcting himself.
Technically, but that's what I'm saying. But
he had the word right. He had the word right. He said he was a royal file. He had the correct word, and that's what I was saying. Is that's fine.
He didn't use it in the correct context according to what you were saying. And basically, what I'm doing is mediating the moment of Paul is never right, Brendan is always right, and Brett sometimes gets it right.
Please
when Paul brought me tacos,
I said
7 hours late.
I said Anglophile because I thought I was talking about the Brits. I literally gave a disclaimer saying if you're not talking about British people, then it's not Anglophile. I just didn't know what the proper term for
now, when you're talking about an
Anglophile,
that's not specifically the people. Anglophile is being obsessed with anything that has to do with Anglo culture.
Yeah, but either way, that's
art and music and all of their stolen artifacts. There's a video game now that came out.
Another one there, Eric.
There's a video game now that came out where you play a South African treasure hunter that goes to the British museums and steals back the artifacts.
Okay, that's great. No one cares. My point is that ultimately that there's a difference between a correction
people do care
and an addition, or a contribution. Brendan adds a contribution.
Eric, can you put a scoreboard up, please? Because these two need to keep track.
People care. What are you talking about? People don't care.
Brendan adds a contribution as if it's a correction. Like no one said that. I said Anglophile pertains to anything British, and he says yes, it means anything British. People.
I never
culture,
thought
which
that I'm about to say
British.
Okay, we've hit an all-time low. We've determined that.
Well, you
now I'm about to say something that there's no way I would have ever thought of saying. Eric, put Brett and Brendan both on a one solicit timeout.
Ooh, mute. I like it. I'll just mute it right here.
He's gonna mute you guys. You guys are muted for the one solicit. That means that I am choosing to deal this next cover with the infamous Paul Vato.
Oh, amazing. But before we leave this one, make sure you get my comic book, The Mexorcist. So that's the one I'm working on. And if truth be told, maybe then I'm more of a fish and chipophile than
so. All right, next up, X-Men United #1. See, introduce Chin Ariel. Hello, introduction.
Oh, I found the
Gray Matter. Turn his mic off.
No, it's 51 #1. You're on the wrong book.
I'm not. I'm skipping that one.
He could not even make it a minute. I should have my muted ended and his an extra minute long because I play by the rules.
Eric,
there.
Eric, go ahead and mute my mic.
My
studios. Except Steven and myself. Yeah. The show's going to be so much better like this.
Mad Cave Studios is putting out 51 #1. If you can't tell by the title, they're talking about Area 51. This one's going to be paranormal alien stuff. It says, after a wild party at Hangar 51 leaves every secret item stolen, the president's troublemaking son Harvey and his chaotic team must recover rogue aliens, experimental tech, and superpowered formulas while uncovering the conspiracy behind the heist. It's weird. It's goofy. It's got a cool art style. I'm for it. Let's go. That's it. Everybody's muted except me. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's go.
All the mics are open. It's just, does anyone have, this happens sometimes. Crickets, Eric. Can we get the cricket we need a cricket like
no, if you look at the creative team on this, it's a solid creative team. You've got Kurt Perez, you've got Jock on art, you've got Micah Myers doing the lettering on this. It's going to be a solid book. This is probably going to be a 5 or 6 issue, maybe 4, but it's a weird concept. A bunch of the stuff gets stolen. They're going to go around trying to find it. So you've got some noir in there. You've got some supernatural stuff going on. You've got alien tech. I don't see where you can go wrong with this.
That's fair. But at the same time, it's just funny. Even though I obviously abruptly said it and even bluntly said it, like, who cares? And then we turn around and we have a comic cover that no one really has an opinion on. Even what Brendan said is, true. And it does look cool because anything regarding Area 51 is cool. But sometimes it's okay to admit it. We just get covers that do nothing for us.
And it's not because
they're
really
bad.
Quick?
It's just because this panel in particular may not care.
I just want to point one thing out for the record. For all of those who do care, I skipped this one and went to X-Men United #1.
So Steve doesn't care. So there you go. So it's okay, and we can admit that.
No, can I point out the hypocrisy in skipping over a cool niche independent like publishing house to go right back to Marvel after he was just bitching about Marvel #1s? He wants to talk about a Marvel #1.
You know what, Eric? Go ahead and add that to the correction.
That's what makes it fun. Oh, fine. Yeah, just mute Steve for another 30 seconds, and then when it's done, he could just go off on Marvel like he probably will anyway. So
man, Marvel they're just churning out #1s. Why are there so many #1s? Let's go to a Marvel #1.
Yeah,
cool. All right, so X-Men United #1, the one that Steve is so excited about. Go ahead, do your solicit, boss.
No, it's all you, bro.
All right. So this one is the introduction of Gray Matter Lane, which is a new institute so instead of changing out the roster or whatever, or the team or the outfits or the uniforms, they're just doing a whole new school. So build a school.
Address.
Charles Xavier told
the X-Men move.
Build a school, Charles Xavier told him.
Taxes.
Is that Michael Jackson, upper right corner?
It is, yes.
Oh my God.
And the X-Men have done so, but in a manner nobody saw coming. Welcome to Gray Matter Lane, a place where mutants anywhere in the world can come together in unity to teach one another the skills needed for their survival. With instructors including Wolverine, Beast, Prodigy, Magneto, and more, and a campus unlike any before seen. It's the crossroads of the X universe, and a student body from across the globe works to take mutant kind to the next step in their evolution and to cope with a brewing threat to all of their number.
I love how Paul didn't mention that. All I would have like really noticed was like Lockheed, and instead now I'm just thinking of anyway.
Well, and I'm looking at it, and Wonder Man sitting in the middle and the back is kind of funny too, because it's not Colossus, right?
Is the Michael Jackson character? Is that?
I don't know.
Is it Monet? Who is?
It's
I have no clue.
Who wears a burgundy shirt and has like a hoof for a hand?
I don't know, but I think you heard it here first that Michael Jackson is now canon in Marvel.
Right.
I mean, they got the nose right.
I mean, it's accurate.
Wait, so
is
Steve
that
said,
wait, those massive pectorals right there, is that dumbass new Rob Liefeld that he came out with? Like, there was supposed to be Cable, but it's not Cable, but it's Cable. Was it? You know who I'm talking about, with the stupid helmet with the S on the front?
The suit looks like Wonder Man. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
No, that's the, what was it? Shit. It's Liefeld something X.
The one thing that they really
I love how I
did
just
in this
turned
cover
dead air.
is look at how many female
I'm still
X-Men
trying to figure out
are
who this
featured
Michael
on that.
Jackson looking mutant is.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. But it didn't say
Major X.
I say thanks, Paul, like both ironically and very seriously, because look at this is giving us now, content or at least conversation. Because before,
is this like does this cover illustrate the fact that apparently the men in X-Men have all been able to pass the academy and the women are still trying to figure it out? Like, what is this about? Because it's like, when you look at it and you really look at this cover, look at how many women X-Men.
You see Rogue. There's Rogue. There's Kitty Pryde, and
who's the little
Dazzler?
short one there in front of Michael Jackson?
I was gonna say there's Dazzler's in the very front, like left.
And who's chewing the bubble gum right there next to Iceman?
That's Jubilee.
That's definitely Jubilee. Yep.
And who's the golden helmet next to Michael Jackson?
That's what I was wondering too.
And I see Laura Kinney up in the upper right corner.
Laura Kinney's behind Michael Jackson.
In between Cyclops and Nightcrawler, who's that?
And that looks like Magic's hair on the left margin.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, the one. That's what I'm wondering too, Steve. That's the only one who because you see Kitty Pryde by Lockheed. That's a dead giveaway.
Who's the zombie girl behind Gambit?
That's who Steve's asking, or behind Cyclops.
That's isn't that the character from Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men?
Oh, that tracks. That looks like a Peach Momoko creation. And then next to Golden,
can I get a Brennan correction graphic, please?
Golden head person there next to Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
there's
we got to bump it at the 6.
There's a blue girl.
Thanks, buddy. You're the
next
man.
to Major X's like shoulder deltoid. There's a blue girl right there.
And then I just happened to notice, but Deadpool's in the.
Oh, there is. You're right. No, there totally is.
And then in between Michael Jackson and the helmet, it looks like there's another girl in the background there that's very nondescript with black hair.
Oh, good call. You're very right.
Yeah,
see, I can't. No one can tell that. There's no giveaway with a suit or anything.
And what is that, like ghosts coming out of the back of Cyclops' head? Do you see that? The two little like ghost characters that are like kind of.
No, that's
the glow off of.
That's Iceman's hand.
Where's his other hand?
Above Cyclops' head.
That's Zorn.
The black.
Oh, good call. I didn't even see. I did not see that.
See that?
Oh, wow.
So that's off of.
No,
that's
so that's
like
a part of the zombie girl's hair.
That's
the zombie
well,
girl's
it's not
hair.
the hair. I think it's like aura because you see it to the right there.
Some kind of magic. Some kind of magic. Black dark magic. Who is? Do you know, Eric? Did you look it up? I thought you said you. Did you have a guess? Does anyone know?
Oh, the auras? No, I've got nothing. I was saying Zorn, the helmet guy.
You know what? If they make this a poster, we could sit there and just pick it apart for hours. We've just proven that. Like, you put 2,000 characters on there. We're like, oh, I see Stone Cold. I see Bret Hart. I see
100%.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me that the feature of this solicit was about the new school and building the new school, and it's like female X-Men heavy, right? which is cool. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Well, and the only
cool.
instructors that they list are Wolverine, Beast, Prodigy, and Magneto.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, Emma's been an instructor for what? 35 years at this
I was going to
point?
say at least 20 something. At least 20.
You know what? She doesn't have tenure at the new school, so they didn't bring her over.
Yeah, right.
Well, and then like of all the X-Men females, who would be the top instructor?
Storm.
Rogue.
It's so funny because you would have to split the difference. It would be one of those two people.
Yeah,
historically, Storm, in the more modern sense, maybe Rogue, because ever since the 90s, Rogue has been like so like popular at the helm of all
Is
of it.
Jean Grey alive anymore? I don't know. Is
Well,
she?
and that was the question.
It depends on the
about
continuity.
The next cover. Let's take a look at the
Sure.
Planet Comic-Con Kansas City 2026 cover.
And this is one of the covers that they're doing for Planet Comic-Con because Stanley Artgerm Lau, this is the Phoenix version variant. He did like 4 or 5 different characters. And I just thought this one was super dope because we talked about it briefly a minute ago, but to actually manually do flame lighting and flame coloring is very, very difficult. And they killed it with this cover. You see the reflection on the side of her body of the light, how the light would play because, you know, fire doesn't give off white light. It gives off yellow light. So you see the yellow lighting.
It's radiant. Very
multiple light sources, but they got the shadows right. And then you look at the flame itself and it's like flame ranges from white to yellow to orange when you're talking about like flame that we see every day. You know, it does get into white and blue and stuff when it gets super hot. But like this cover right here with all the fire and the way the fire is interacting and the light play, it's a really great artful cover.
And plus, like everything about the Phoenix and Jean Grey is so much aesthetically based, right, Steve? Like when we see her, there has to be an element of mystique to it. Not literally, you know, not in the. I know that's a weird frame of reference given the fact that's an adversary, but you know what I'm saying, like or an aura. You know, I don't like to use that word.
I mean, this
is Mystique cosplaying as Jean Grey.
As Jean Grey, right? But Steve, like Jean Grey, like she's one character who has such like, you know, solidification because of that aspect, right? Even though a lot of her continuity and storylines are controversial and how they're handled in the media, like it's a character we always love because she's an original X-Men, Stan Lee, like circa 1963, and then, or you know, 1964.
She's literally the boss of Xavier's not there.
Exactly. And is considered, when she's at her peak, the most powerful mutant in all of existence, essentially. Right. So there you go.
I love that all of that is true. And she's also in like the biggest love triangle and the longest lasting love triangle in like, history.
Right. That's like to the point.
She's right up there with Betty and Veronica and Archie.
Yeah.
I do want to point out that, you know, it's some comic book artists, like when Scotty does a cover, you know it's a Scotty cover, right? Like you just know immediately when you look at it. And Artgerm, when you look at this cover, you know it's an Artgerm cover, like instantly, right? Because it has a little bit of that photorealism to it. It always has really incredible line work. I mean, look at the line work on the fire, right? That is incredibly done well, and that is not something that most artists can just pull off. You know. And what's funny is the thing about the things that most people can't pull off is giving Paul Vato time to talk about what was important to him. He sent a message, said, I have something important to say. Can I please share it? So Paul,
where is he sending these messages? Because he's not putting in the group chat where he's
supposed to. No, he sent it to me privately because he said, since you muted Brendan's mic, that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you're going to let me talk. Can I? And so Paul, go ahead.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you. I really, really appreciate the time because I know I already took some time at the top of the show, but you know, it's always great because of all the wonderful things that I have going on. You know, I also want to talk about the OWL app, which I think all of us should be on so we can talk to our fans. It's 2 W's and 2 L's, OWWLL. And when you sign up, just use the referral code VATO, and then you can chat with us. Are you guys still there? And then you can chat with us. Of course, you guys are still there. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you can just chat with us on OWL.
Yeah, I'm waiting for this guy to stop talking, and then I'll be there in a minute.
If you could mute yourself, I'm trying to promote the OWL app.
No way. Minus 280?
He's still
on the money. 280 on the money line. No. Lay the points or say screw it. Maybe a
1,000 is the new gobbledygooker.
Maybe a total play.
It's supposed to have like,
but stay away from it straight up. So you got to stay with me straight up. Lay the money line on it. It has a nice hook on it. If you shop around the various markets, you could find some value. I'm telling you.
Technology, you can just replace who's over there.
Even Erickson on it? What's going on? Hello? Hello, PaulVato.com, Owl Brand, Kamasusia.
Oh my gosh.